Everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. In today's episode, we're going to be doing a bulk Defense Plus matte paint protection film wrap on the rear hatch of this 2025 Tesla Model Y long range. We're wrapping the entire vehicle in our Defense Plus matte paint protection film, and this will be my third attempt at trying to film one of these bulk rear hatch videos. So if you guys are watching this video, it means I got it on the third try. So I'm going to take you guys along from start to finish. It's already been prepped. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to talk about what I'm going to put along this edge over here to prevent any tacking or stretch marks, that type of thing. And then I'll take you through the install, the trimming, the wrapping of the edges, the post heating, whole 9 yards. So it'll be a fairly long video. So enough of me talking, let's get into it. All right, so you join me in my office. I realize now that I'm about to start editing this video that I actually never did the clip where I talked about what I was going to put along the rear hatch of the Model Y before I started the bulk paint protection film wrap. So what I ended up doing was I ended up taking an actual ceramic coating, and I actually ceramic coated all along that body line or that fin where the spoiler would go if it was a performance model. By doing this, it really allows the paint protection film to be stretched across that body line and not run the risk of having any kind of stretch marks or any kind of distortion marks in the paint protection film. Just due to the amount of stretch that is needed across that body line, it's a very, very prone area for damage. So I realized that now, as I'm about to start editing the video, that I never actually talked about this. So I'll link a video in the description below where I've done a dedicated video on this ceramic coating before doing a PPF install, and I'll link that down below for you guys to go check that out. But yeah, I just want to apologize that that clip never made it into this video. Instead, I'm just explaining it now. So let's get into the video. Okay, so I got the paint protection film into place on the rear hatch. Now I need to start doing the most difficult part about this entire installation, and that is getting everything stretched into place so that all of this lays down nice and flat on the inside of this rear part of the rear hatch. So it's going to require lots of manipulation of the film and a ton of stretching. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my towel right over here. I'm just going to lift the film up. I'm drying the film, the back of the film, with my microfiber or my CarPro drying towel. Do the same thing over here as well too. And what I'm going to do is I want to stretch right along this fin of the rear hatch. So I'm not even focused about the film up here. I'm only focused about the film along this part of the rear hatch. So I'm just going to grab it, and I'm going to have to go around a number of times to kind of get this to take shape. Just going to hold this in place just with my hand, pull it up with the squeegee. There we go. Now we're going to take the drying towel and we're going to go around to this side. As you can see, the PPF has already started to take this shape. That's perfect. It's exactly what we want. Now, I'm just going to dry this all off underneath here. I saw this technique on Instagram with one PPF installer, and I don't recall the page or who it was, but it's a really, really great technique. So now, like I said, stretching along that fin, along that body line. As you can see, we've created quite a bit of issues with the film right here, but that's fine. As you can see, everything is down right over here. That's exactly what you want. So Right now, I'm just gonna come in with my squeegee and I'm gonna squeegee this down while I can. This right here is the hardest part of this rear hatch. Now this, I'll deal with this later. Created more issues there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just actually gonna take and put more slip solution back here. And then what I need to do is I need to stretch this the way the film is not creasing. There we go. That's exactly what we want. Now, what I'm going to do is just going to get that taken care of real quick. Come around to this side. Do the exact same thing. And then I want to take care of all this while I still can. So I'm going to lift this up. I need this to sit down. I can't be having this popped straight up. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to come in here, get a good dose of tack solution, tack that in place. Now everything should sit down nicely right along there. That's good. Okay, that's wanting to pop up because this isn't laying flat. So what I need to do is grab my knife, and this is gotta be careful here. Just gonna make a slight insertion right here with the knife. And then, okay, that's good. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna hold the film and kind of pull it down so it's laying flat there. That's what we want. That's good. Now, I'm just gonna take and make an insertion right over here. Now we're just going to pull this film down. And just with our hand, I'm going to come right along this fin, just like that. Now that we have that down, I'm just going to pop this up. I'm going to hold this, and we're going to squeegee this all down at an angle, just like so. We'll get all that out of there. That is perfect. Now I can come over here. I can make another insertion with the knife. Take care of this little guy, this little finger that's popping up. There we go, that's good. Now, we're gonna come over here. We're gonna do the exact same thing. This has already started to stick itself into place. So what we need to do is I'm going to actually put some slip solution in there. I'm going to work some of the slip solution around. Make sure the adhesive is not drying itself out where it shouldn't be. And then I'm going to come back along the very top over here. Squeegee all that down. Need to be careful I don't cut any paint here. Now, we got ourselves a finger issue, which they're bound to happen. It's something that's got this much stretch and tension on it. You're bound to run into these issues. So what I'm gonna end up doing now is I don't know if I wanna get this down now or if I wanna take care of this. You know what, I think I'm gonna get this down. So I'm gonna come over here, cut that a little bit more. That's the wrong bottle. And now what I need to do is I actually need to lift this up just a bit more. And then what I need to do is just stretch this down. I'm going to come along from the top of this ridge right here. And now all these fingers, this will be fun. Now what I'm going to do is to get this down, because we got all these fingers, is I'm just going to stretch them and spread the material out. Just like that. Now I'm going to try and hold this all with one hand, which is easier said than done. There we go. That's good. Now I'm going to take care of this very little bottom lip here. So I'm just flushing the slip solution out with my tack solution, and Just gonna get this edge down. It's always a good idea on a PPF install, if you can, start with the hardest parts of the installation first, and then work your way over to the easier ones. Now you'll see that I flipped my squeegee around right there, and that's because I got some lift lines right there. So I'm just gonna lift those up. I'm gonna put more slip solution underneath, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to massage that around just with my hand. And I'm going to lift it up one more time. And then I'm just going to stretch it out, lay it flat, just like so. I'm going to squeegee that down. Now that lift line is right along the body line, and it's going to be far less noticeable. And then once we start seeing some really hot sunny days, that should fade away a little bit. It will not fade away 100%. They usually never do. But now I'm gonna come over here and I'm just gonna start trimming off a bunch of this excess material that's not needed. And we can start working on everything else on this rear hatch. So if we come up over here, there's a few places we could start, but what I'm going to do is take my slip, lift the film up, and I'm just going to start spraying a whole bunch of slip solution here, as you guys have seen me do already. Just making sure there's no sticking spots over here. Everything's sliding around nicely, and that's exactly what you want. I'm gonna have to lift this up further, but we'll do that yet. But I think right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna cut a bunch of this excess material off. There we go. That's good. That's less that we have to fight with. Now we're gonna just get my slip solution. I'm just running around here. Oh, put it right over here. Can never find my stuff. So now what I want to do is I'm actually going to trim off a bunch of this excess over here on the side. Go. Now, as you can hear, as I was lifting that up, you could hear the PPF. It had already started to stick itself into place. Just listen to that. So we don't want that. So now what I'm going to do is, actually this is still dry up here, so I'm just going to use that to my advantage. Stretch this all into place. Hold that there. I'm going to come underneath here and get some tack solution underneath the film. That's good. Now this right over here, I'm going to have to trim that out later and get that down. But for now, this is going to be just perfectly fine. We got ourselves an air bubble right here. There we go, push that out. Okay, now we're gonna do the same thing over here like we did on the passenger side. We're gonna cut off a bunch of this excess material. Now, we're just gonna lift this up. As you can see with all the stretch, as soon as I let go of the film, watch what it wants to do. It wants to pull itself together. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna stretch this all out and tack it up here. There we go, that's good. Now, perfect, that's good. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go around, I'm gonna trim off all the excess material over here. Now by doing this, I gotta be very careful. I'm gonna pop my blade out like 2 notches. And what I wanna do is I wanna run my blade along the inside of the rear glass here. But I also have my knife sitting on the glass. So I'm not cutting paint, but I'm cutting all the way through the film. Now this you want to be super careful about, because if you go off track, you're cutting something and you can see all the tension on the film and how the film is just pulling up like crazy. Okay, that's good right there. Now we're going to find our starting point here. I'll be super careful rounding out this corner. There we go. That's perfect. That's exactly what you want done. Now I might as well take care of the top here. So I'm going to be careful. So if I were to take and cut all the way through, this entire piece would shrink. So now that I made that small cut, I'm just got my tack solution behind the film. Now I should be able to trim all this off. Just going to lift this up here. So for this to go down, I'm gonna actually have to trim this off, but I'm gonna go take care of the other side first. And of course, we got all this built up solution over here that just, it doesn't wanna go out. So we'll take care of this corner here first, and then we'll get everything else done. See how the film just pulls back like that? There we go, that's good. Now, this part right over here, this is gonna be fun. So I'm just gonna pull the film back and spray a bunch of tack solution underneath it. And we're just gonna start at one side. I can see how the solutions come back till here. And we're just gonna push this out underneath the film here, or out the edge there. I'll have to go over this multiple times to make sure I didn't leave any slip solution behind, because this area is definitely going to be hard to get it all. We got ourselves a piece of contamination right over here. So I'm just going to lift this up. Yeah, there we go. Now, what I'm going to do is just put this on so it's spraying sharp, and with one finger I'm lifting it up, the film up, and getting all of my, or spraying a bunch of tack solution behind the film. There we go. That is good. Okay, now I'm going to take my CarPro drying towel. We're going to dry this off. Better hope and pray you don't have any contamination in any of the parts over here. That would cause all kinds of issues if you had to lift the PPF up again to go and get that. So everything seems to be looking really good. Yeah, got a minor finger to deal with right over here, which we are going to deal with. So Luckily that has not started to set itself yet. So I can come over here. Now, pull this back. Now, we're going to take care of trimming off all the excess material on the side. So this one I'm going to be very careful with. We're going to take and pop our blade. We're actually just going to score the film. We're going to run right along the edge of the black trim. So I'm going to come back over here. Just going to give that a good tug. And of course I didn't trim nearly deep enough. So what I'm going to do is hope and pray that maybe from this angle I got it. Oh yeah. Yeah. There we go. Just want to be careful I'm not pulling too hard. I don't want to rip into the PPF that's already down. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Now I can take my tack solution, I can lift the film up over here. Go. That's good. You'll see all these lines right over here from when I was stretching the PPF, or from when the PPF was creasing itself. Those lines, they're not going to be there permanently. So now I'm going to do the same thing I did on the driver's side. So we're going to start over here. Just going to pick up from where we left off, or from where we started. Okay, we got that down. Now, what I'm going to do before I take and squeegee this down is I'm going to get a bucket of hot water, maybe 2 of them. I'm going to pour it over top of the film and kind of help the film dry out, and it's going to flush a lot of the slip solution that's in this groove over here. So I'm gonna do that, and then after that, we'll continue trimming, and then we'll do post-heating. Okay, so I got my hot water. I'm just gonna pour this over the film right here. Okay, so we're gonna continue with the post-heating. The GoPro decided to shut off on me. It got too hot, so I gotta continue with an iPhone. So right now, I wanna take and get the PPF down between the rear glass and the rear hatch. So I'm gonna be working my way around. I got my squeegee right here. I got a lint-free glass drying towel right here, and I got my heat gun. So what I like to do is take my squeegee, wrap it around wrap the towel around my squeegee, and then I got my heat gun on high over here. Just gonna heat this all up really nicely, and then just come in there with my squeegee and squeegee this down. What the rag is doing, and I'm sure you can kind of see it already, is the rag soaks up all the moisture that we pull out. Just switch hands here. Now down at the bottom over here is where I'm gonna have to be extra careful because the rag's got a lot of moisture to soak up. So I'm just holding that there. There we go, that's good. Now I'm just gonna turn you guys. Obviously, I'm not gonna be able to soak up all of the solution that's left behind over here, but when I do open up the rear hatch, it will be able to drain out, so that'll be good. And there we go, that's good for this part. I'm just gonna readjust the camera and then we'll move on to the other parts.